Bert Ross's neighbor was 71 years old. She had done everything right. She worked her entire life. She saved carefully. She lived modestly. And when she retired, she handed her life savings, every dollar she had, to a man her friends recommended, a man with an impeccable reputation, a man who had chaired the NASDAQ stock exchange, a man named Bernie Madoff. One morning in December 2008, she turned on the news and felt the floor fall away beneath her. Bernie Madoff had been arrested. The fund was a fraud. The money was all gone. All of it. Every dollar. Everything she had worked for, everything she'd planned for, it was gone. She was 71 years old and left with nothing. She is not alone. There are thousands of her. Retirees, widows, Holocaust survivors who rebuilt their lives from nothing only to lose everything again. Charities that had to shut their doors overnight. Families whose futures evaporated in a single morning. And do you know the crazy part? One man had figured it out years earlier. He'd done the math. He'd seen the impossible numbers and screamed from the rooftops that Bernie Madoff was a fraud. No one listened. This is the story of the greatest Ponzi scheme in human history. This is the story of a charming monster and a brilliant but ignored hero and the thousands of ordinary people caught between them. Let's start at the beginning. Bernard Lawrence Madoff grew up in Queens, New York in a working-class Jewish family. He was not the smartest kid in the room. He was not the most talented. But from an early age, Bernie Madoff understood one thing with extreme clarity. People trust who they like. And people like who make them feel special. In 1960, at just 22 years old, he founded Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities with $5,000 he had saved from working as a lifeguard and installing sprinkler systems. $5,000, that's it. What followed was genuinely impressive, at least at first. Madoff was an early pioneer of electronic trading. His firm helped develop the technology that would eventually become the NASDAQ stock exchange. He served as its chairman. He was respected. He was connected. He was legitimate. And that legitimacy became the most dangerous weapon he ever possessed. Because somewhere in the 1980s, the exact date has never been completely pinned down, Bernie Madoff stopped being a successful businessman and became something else entirely. He started lying. Not small lies, not occasional embellishments. A total, absolute, all-consuming lie that would run for decades and swallow billions of dollars and destroy thousands of lives. He told his investors he had a special strategy, a unique approach to the market that generated steady, reliable returns, around 10 to 12% a year, regardless of whether the market went up or down. In good years, in bad years, in crashes, in recessions, always the same steady returns. It was called the split strike conversion strategy. Sounds sophisticated. It sounded exclusive. It sounded like exactly the kind of thing a NASDAQ chairman would know about that an ordinary person would not. There was just one problem. It wasn't real. None of it was real. Not a single trade was ever made. Here is what made Madoff different from every other fraudster we will ever cover. He didn't chase you. He made you chase him. Most con artists are pushy, desperate. They need you to say yes. Madoff did the opposite. He turned people away. He told potential investors his fund was full. He made them feel privileged just to be considered. He operated through exclusivity, through what people in the industry call the Jewish Country Club Network, Palm Beach, the Hamptons, exclusive golf clubs, synagogues. If your friend vouched for you, maybe, just maybe, Bernie would take your money. People begged to give him their savings. Think about how brilliant this is as a fraud. When you beg someone to take your money, you're not going to question them. You're grateful. You feel lucky. The idea that something might be wrong never enters your mind because you fought to get in. His investors included some of the most sophisticated people in the world: banks, hedge funds, Hollywood executives, European royalty, Nobel Prize winners, and ordinary people. Thousands and thousands of ordinary people who heard about Bernie through a friend of a friend and scraped together their retirement savings for a chance to invest with the legend. Every single one of them received their quarterly statements. Every single one showed steady, reliable returns. Every single one was completely fabricated. Madoff's back office, run by a small group of trusted employees, simply made up the numbers, printed fake statements, created a fictional portfolio of fictional trades that existed nowhere except on paper. They did this for decades. In the year 2000, a financial analyst named Henry Markopolos sat down at his desk in Boston and was given an assignment. His boss wanted him to reverse engineer Bernie Madoff's investment strategy, figure out how he was getting such consistent returns so that their firm could replicate it. Markopolos was not famous. He was not powerful, but he was meticulous, obsessive even, and relentless about numbers. The kind of analyst who genuinely enjoyed pulling apart financial statements the way other people enjoy doing crossword puzzles. He pulled apart Madoff's numbers. It took him 4 hours. 4 hours to determine with absolute mathematical certainty that Bernie Madoff's returns, they were impossible. Not unlikely, not suspicious, impossible. The strategy Madoff claimed to be using, the split strike conversion, could not mathematically produce the returns he was reporting. The options market he claimed to be trading in wasn't even large enough to absorb the volume of trades his portfolio would have required. Markopolos ran the numbers every way he could think of. The answer was always the same. Either Bernie Madoff was front-running, using insider information from his market-making business to trade illegally, or he was running a Ponzi scheme. Those were the only two options. There was no third. Markopolos wrote up his findings and submitted them to the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the governing body whose entire job is to catch exactly this kind of fraud. The SEC looked at his submission, and they did nothing. Markopolos went back to the SEC in 2001. Nothing. In 2005, he submitted a detailed 21-page report titled, and I want you to hear this title clearly, "The World's Largest Hedge Fund is a Fraud." 21 pages, step-by-step mathematical proof. A roadmap catching the biggest financial criminal in American history was sitting on their desk. The SEC opened a limited investigation, found nothing suspicious, and closed the case. Markopolos was so convinced that Madoff was dangerous that he later revealed he had feared for his own life during this period, varying his driving routes, watching for people following him, genuinely afraid of what a man with Madoff's connections might do to silence him. He kept submitting. He kept being ignored. For 8 years, Harry Markopolos screamed into the void. In the end, Bernie Madoff wasn't caught by a regulator or an investigator or a brilliant analyst. He was caught by a global financial crisis. When the market crashed in 2008, investors across the world needed their money back. They started making withdrawal requests from Madoff's fund, more than $7 billion in a matter of weeks. Bernie Madoff didn't have $7 billion. He never had it. It never existed. For decades, his Ponzi scheme had worked because new money coming in covered the withdrawals going out. As long as more people were investing than withdrawing, the illusion held. 2008 broke that illusion. On December 9, 2008, Madoff told his sons, who worked for him in the firm but claimed no knowledge of the fraud, that the investment advisory business was a lie, that it had always been a lie, and that he had nothing left. His sons called a lawyer. The lawyer called the FBI. The next morning, federal agents knocked on Bernie Madoff's door. He didn't run. He didn't deny it. He simply said, "There is no innocent explanation." He was 70 years old. He had been lying for at least 17 years, possibly much longer. The total amount stolen was $64.8 billion in fake account values. The actual cash stolen from real people, approximately $17 billion. The largest Ponzi scheme in human history. The numbers are staggering, but I want to bring it back to the human cost because that's what this story is really about. Over 37,000 people in 136 countries were affected.
Elie Wiesel, Nobel Peace Prize winner and Holocaust survivor, lost his entire foundation savings. Everything he had built to honor the memory of Holocaust victims was gone.
Hundreds of retirees lost their entire life savings. People in their 70s and 80s who had no way to start over. They had to go back to work. They had to sell their homes. They had to tell their children and their grandchildren that there was nothing left. Charitable foundations collapsed overnight. Hospitals lost funding. Schools lost endowments. And Henry Markopolos, the man who tried to stop it all for 8 years, he testified before Congress in 2009. He told them exactly what had happened. He called the SEC incompetent, and he said that he handed them the largest fraud in history on a silver platter and they had fumbled it repeatedly. He was right. An internal SEC investigation later confirmed that they had botched at least 5 separate opportunities to catch Madoff. 5 chances, 5 failures. Bernie Madoff was sentenced to 150 years in prison, the maximum possible. The judge said the fraud was extraordinarily evil. He died in a federal prison on April 14, 2021. He was 82 years old. His son Mark committed suicide 2 years after his father's arrest, on the 2nd anniversary of the arrest to the day. His other son, Andrew, died of cancer in 2014, saying the stress of his father's crimes had destroyed his health and his life. The monster didn't just steal money. He destroyed everyone around him, including his own family. Every fraud has an architect. Bernie Madoff's genius wasn't his investment strategy because he didn't have one. His genius was understanding human psychology, the power of exclusivity, the intoxicating effect of feeling special. The way trust, once established, becomes almost impossible to question. This is what makes this story so chilling and so important. The lesson Harry Markopolos taught us, at enormous personal cost, is that the consistent, impossibly smooth returns are not a sign of genius. They are a red flag. Real investing is volatile. Real markets go up and down. Any fund that claims to deliver a steady stream of positive returns regardless of market conditions deserves your deepest skepticism. If it sounds too good to be true, and nobody can explain exactly how it works, it probably is. Markopolos knew. He tried to tell us. Next time, listen to the Markopolos in the room. If you found this story as gripping as I did, subscribe because next week we're going inside Theranos, the story of Elizabeth Holmes, the youngest female self-made billionaire in history, and the medical device that was supposed to revolutionize healthcare. Except it didn't work. It never did, and people died. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and I will see you then.